Oh, did you?
Yeah, 271 in the storms between the drops.
Yeah, I heard the thunder,
Yeah,
and
it was
it did start raining over here.
you couldn't see. It was, everybody had slowed down. Some people pulled over. It was really
Oh, that intense, huh? Mm,
yeah.
mm.
Who's the person on the bottom, Ace? Is that one of your people?
That's Amelie.
Oh. Hey, Amelie.
All right. Well, it is 9:05. We're going to go on and get rolling. Want to thank you all for being here. We're doing something just a little different. We are not only here live with all of you on Zoom, but we are also broadcasting live on YouTube. And I'm navigating through all that now. So if you're watching live on YouTube, we want to welcome you as well. And tonight we're going to spend some time and we're going to talk a little bit about the matrix that's taking place. I sent out an email a couple of days ago just asking, have you guys noticed any glitches taking place in the matrix? And then I spent a little time with Annette this morning and we were talking about how people are just navigating through this time in history and a lot of their personal stuff is coming up. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the matrix. We're going to talk about 3D, 4D, 5D, and talk through the different experiences. And if you want to weigh in, you can weigh in by just putting your hand up and we'll bring you to the forefront and let you speak. Or you can put it in the chat if you want to leave a comment there and we'll go from there. But normally when Annette and I start talking, we never know where it's going to go. We've been doing this for like 100 years. I mean, it's kind of weird because if you could eavesdrop on our conversations, if you could eavesdrop on enough of them, you'll be like, oh, we got to commit these two. Like they from this planet. We have those really, really deep conversations. The only way I can really describe it is though, when we're on the phone, it's kind of like our higher selves just channel information through us and we're just literally blown away. And a lot of the conversation, like we should have recorded that because it's never planned or scripted. But at the end of it, like, why didn't we record that? Because so much content just comes through. And this morning, we had another one of those conversations and it was like, no, we're going to save it for tonight. So we're just going to talk through some things dealing with the matrix, talk through some things dealing with the different dimensions. And maybe you're one of those people that have been noticing more of your own personal stuff coming up. Anybody like that? Been noticing like, why is this joker still with me? Like, why is this person still coming up? Why am I still dealing with this situation? And the only way I could really describe it is, remember, we're going through this ascension process as a collective, but what makes up the collective? The individuals. So if we're going to ascend, then we all have to deal with our own what? Our own stuff. It's kind of like it rained on the entire planet. It left a fog. And now in order for us to get through it, we have to get rid of the fog. Well, the fog that's in us are the very things that we have to work through. So we want to spend a little bit of time and talk about that, talk about 3D dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension, why you find yourself in different ones, going back and forth, what do each one mean? Okay, that's important. and just to give a little bit more understanding on that. So Annette, I'm going to let you, because you really started off this morning with sharing with me a little bit about how your week has been going. So I'm going to just tag it on to you. And again, guys, you can chime in, just do the little hand thing or put it in the chat. I'm going to be checking YouTube every once in a while and see if anyone is chatting over there. But Annette, I'm going to let you just weigh on it right there, and we'll keep the conversation going.
All righty. Well, I'm just going to bring you all into the conversation that we had this morning, and think over your week. This week particular. Have any of you all felt like stuff coming up that you worked on, you healed, that you worked on this stuff, and all of a sudden it's back, and you're going, what happened? I forgave myself, I forgave them, I brought my family in on a situation, we all had a conversation, and then it's back again. So I can tell by the hands going up, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So here's one thing that I want you to realize. What's coming up is not what you dealt with back then. Always remember, today you're a brand new person. So whatever you're dealing with today has to do with today, not with yesterday. So, for example, maybe you were mad at someone and all of a sudden the night before you had a dream, that person popped up and you're going, why are they here? I don't want to talk to that person. I don't have nothing to do with that person. Well, you forgave the person, but you didn't forgive yourself. And so what's happening now, especially over this week, is, as we were talking about on meditation and talking about last Thursday, it's about self-love. So anything that's holding you back from loving self, anything that's in the way, is starting to come up. And that has to do with the shifting, going from third dimension to fourth dimension to fifth dimension. And what I was saying to Ace this morning is, most people talk about third dimension or fifth dimension, but nobody really talks about the fourth dimension. And so for us to understand the ascension, that we have to understand what each one of these dimensions means to us personally. And so, third dimension, when Ace and I were talking, for me is duality, right, wrong, good, bad, all the different things. Ace, you had a different perspective on the third dimension.
No, duality definitely exists. It's linked to our paradigms and it's linked to our belief systems. So, and I think what's happening right now is with the shifting of the planet, like you said, this stuff is starting to pop up because we have to deal with it, but it's also forcing us to deal with our beliefs. Mm-hmm. Because for the last 10,000 years, everything has been programmed. When I was born, what's the baby food that I ate? Take a guess. Gerber. Like, really, like Gerber applesauce was just, programmed. And guess what? When I had kids, guess what, baby food they had? Gerber. So we've been forced with so many different programs and so many paradigms that have been just launched at us. Your religious beliefs came from where? 9 times out of 10, it came from who? The people that brought you on the planet. Even your political beliefs, why do you vote the way you vote? If you vote, that came from somewhere. Your relationships, I hear all the time, you just like your daddy or this, that, and the other. Well, guess what? A lot of that stuff is passed on. So I think we're going through a time right now where we're questioning our belief systems. Like, why do I believe in this? Why do I?
And that's the fourth dimension.
Correct.
The
So
questioning.
You're absolutely. So when you're
guys,
in the fourth dimension, you question.
Right, as you're going through, now you understand what the third dimension is. Now the fourth dimension is question everything. Every single thing, every belief you have, everything is questioning and forcing you to question. because the higher self inside of you is saying, okay, I don't believe that. Why are you believing that? And so for me, it's like, okay, we need to have a family meeting because certain things we were programmed with back in the day, they served us at that time, but they may not be serving us now. So we're in the fourth dimension, and the fourth dimension for me is question why I do what I do, why I believe what I believe, why am I not loving myself the way I know I should and want to. All of these things are the fourth dimension so that we can actually ascend to what our next level is. And so it's about questioning. Ace.
And the other thing to look at with the fourth dimension is you get to also make a decision. So something shows up. Some people have no awareness, they're in 3D. And understand, as we're talking through this, there's no good, right, wrong with any of this. However, the more awareness you bring to yourself, the more you understand the power that you have within yourself. So when something happens, if you're in the present moment and recognize it, then you also have a decision to make. Some people decide to jump into paradigm. This happened to me a few weeks ago with, with the whole George Floyd thing. I jumped in the 3D paradigm and was all in flesh. Other people said, no, I'm going to hold love and light, which is a fifth dimensional consciousness, understanding that the divine plan is playing out. Does this make sense? So the fourth dimension to me is kind of like the bridge that you sit on. And as these events show up, it gives you the opportunity not only to recognize what's going on, but then make a choice. And if you keep going through the same situations, you may make a different choice. I had one incident happen. I jumped in all flesh. Another incident happened not too long after that. And what I did was I held my fifth dimensional space on it. Okay. And again, there's no good or bad, but we gain more power when we're in the awareness, when we're in the dot that Annette and I keep talking about. When we're in the dot and we see what's going on, we question it, and then we decide, okay, we're going to go this way or that way. And again, there's no right and wrong. Some people like to beat themselves up. So don't go around talking about, oh, you in the 3D, you in the 3D girl. We don't want to do that, okay? Because there's nothing wrong with it. There's still some pleasures of the 3D that we're all going to participate in, okay? You might go out and say, no, I'm going to have this Hennessy tonight, and I'm going to have this drink, and I'm going to have this other one, and we're going to drink the night away. You have made a conscious decision, nothing wrong with it, knowing that the next morning, I'm gonna have to pay for this. I'm gonna pay for this thing called the hangover. So there's still gonna be aspects of us where we wanna participate in the 3D and we want a full dose of it, okay? And there are times you'll graduate and be like, I've been there, done that. I understand what that toy looks like, but I wanna play with a different type of toy. I wanna play with this toy maybe differently. So the fourth dimension to me is really like the playground where you get to really home in on your skills. And again, there's no good or bad, but it's the awareness. And if we can walk in the awareness, walk in the moment, it'll arm us to help us make better decisions, but be conscious of the decision too. And that's the key thing. So Annette, I got a question for you. And yeah, I'm gonna do the Annette because this is what she normally does to me. She'll call me up and I know when this comes out, I'm in trouble. So she'll call me up and be like, question. And I'm like, okay, let me just set aside an hour and a half because that's where this is going. Okay. So I have a question for you, Annette. So with everything that's going on the planet right now, with everyone dealing with their personal things and the shedding, what is your perspective on, and we talked about it this morning, about the larger issues going on with equality and rights as that plays to minorities? What's your take on that? Yeah, she wasn't ready for
Have one, you know that.
that.
You know, for me, I see what's going on outside, and it's about, equality for the planet. And I should say the world, not the planet, because they're separate. And what I also see is when I'm in nature, I see in nature how nature is bringing a balance about itself also. And so it's not just about what's going on as far as humans, it's what's going on energetically across the board. And so for me, I have to stay true to my own self. And for me to give out to someone else, first off, I have to self love for myself. And so I send love and light out every morning. I go to nature and I do my rituals in nature for the planet and everything. But then after that, I come back to self. I'm working on who I am. Because, as you were talking about the fourth dimension, visually, I saw a bridge and I saw the third dimension side and the fifth dimension side. And I saw me running back and forth, back and forth, third, fifth, fourth, just back and forth. And that's what we do. And so for me, I have to stay centered and grounded and in love for myself, because for me, it's nothing I can do for anyone else until I do it for myself. So I don't really get caught up in what's going on as far as the awareness of it, sending love and light to it, and then going back to self and doing my self healing.
And I guess the reason why I wanted to just share some light on that is because I see a lot of people that are caught
Mhm.
with their perspective on what's going on in the planet. And if you're a minority, you have one perspective. If you're white, you have another perspective. If you're, whatever, everyone has different perspectives. And this stuff had to bubble up in order for us to transition. It's just being loud right now. And I was talking to somebody the other day because they always try to get me riled up when something happens. I'm like their first call. Yeah, Ace, give it to us now, put the spin on it now. And I was trying to explain to him that, look, there are a lot of different roles that are taking place right now on the planet. And our individual choices are so important because every time we make a decision, guess what? It goes right into the algorithm. Doesn't matter who you are. Every time we make a decision, so every time I make a decision, it goes in the algorithm. So imagine 7 billion decisions every day going into this algorithm, and then the planet is being guided by that. Because we would all agree that this year, it seems like somebody took the steering wheel from Mother Earth and said, no, we were going northeast, we going south now. Like a complete turn. And then all of this stuff is bubbling up at one time. And it's just really interesting. So as we talk about third dimensional, which is about duality, right, wrong, hot, cold, this, that, and the other. Fourth dimension, you're on the bridge making a decision. And that's right, we run back and forth. Then you have the fifth dimension. And for me, the fifth dimension is all good, all God, because when you're operating from that state, you understand the divine plan. You understand that everything is happening the way it's supposed to be. As I was jotting down some notes today about the fifth dimension, Christ came back, came just like he just dropped right in, because if you look at Christ and the work he did when he was on this planet, he didn't try to save the planet. He didn't walk into Galilee and was like, I'm gonna save all the people. You with me? He didn't, on his stroll through town, it wasn't like everybody healed. No, he was very selected. 95% of the time, what the people had to find him. Are you with me? Because he respected the path of everybody's path, and understood at the end of the day that things are happening the way they're supposed to happen in divine order. It's hard to grasp that when you witness what you're witnessing around. And that's why it's important to understand the awareness of where you're at. Are you in 3D, 4D, or 5D? But when you look at how he operated, that's literally how he did it. I mean, he could have walked in the room and be like, oh, y'all worship me. Are you with me? He had that type of power. Like, oh, no, this brigade belonged to me now. This the Jesus brigade. You know, he could have easily done that, but he didn't. He respected the natural path of every individual person, because every individual person, part of the collective, through their day-to-day decisions, are plugging in to the algorithm of the matrix, and then the collective, the planet, moves in the direction because of that. And so with all the things that are happening now, we see that movement. We've all seen things in the last couple months that we're scratching our head like, wow. Then we've seen a lot of good things. We've seen a lot of people do good things and we're like, whoa, I didn't expect that. I'll be the first to admit, there've been many times I'll look at somebody and just judge them. Anybody did that? Just judge somebody by the way they look, and then they do something completely different. You're like, oh, wow. You know, and I think that's a lot of that is happening on the planet now. And to me, it's everybody just dealing with their individual stuff. And I was sharing with a good buddy of mine that, hey, when the more we purge, the more we gain power in knowing who we really are and how powerful we are. So your purging leads to more what? Inner power. So Annette, what's your thoughts on the fifth dimension? I just gave mine. So what's your thoughts on that?
You know, it's interesting that you brought up the Christ energy, because all of us have it. You know, all of us are miracle workers, every last one of us. It just depends on dimension you're going to flow in. How are you going to use that power? Because you can walk in, each one of you can walk in a room with that same energy, with that same power, and change that room. And without saying a word, just walking in that energy. Why? Because you know who you are. Why? Because you love you. And so that energy that Christ had is available to all of us, it's already in us. So we can use it and make a difference. That energy will change just the amount of people we have on the call today. You know, we have 15 people. Can you imagine all 15 of us in 5D energy and make a decision? Okay, we're going to make a change in Cleveland or Florida. It can happen. Why can it happen? Because we're all one. And whatever we make up our minds, we can do it because the power is in us to do that. We just need to recognize who we are. I had a client today and I said to her, do you really realize how great you are? And she had never thought about it. But every single one of us that's on this call have come here for a reason, have come here to make a difference, have come here to walk in light and love and be who they truly are, and just send that out to whomever wants to receive it. We're not sending it out to make a decision for them. We're sending it out so that they can connect to the same power and then make the change for themselves.
That's deep, girl. That's deep. So have any of you had a situation happen, you knew the situation, and then you instantly said, you know what, I'm gonna be in 5D on this situation, like right off the bat? Anybody?
Me?
I know you in that. Anybody else? Let's see, somebody's in the chat, because I would like to hear one or two examples of that, of a situation that you may not want to explain it. Maybe it's personal, but I think we can use those as building blocks. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. This violence that's been happening with men that look like me hit me real hard. It's always hit me hard, and but I'm holding a different energy for it because, number one, I have to, but it's also given me the opportunity to help some other brothers to it as well. I have seen some very emotional men in massive pain. You see men crying over this, and they don't know how to articulate that pain other than screaming and yelling. And I get it. I really, really do. So it's put me in a situation where I'm grabbing this download from my higher self to not only assist me, but to assist a lot of guys that look like me, because it's real. You know, don't think they're not conversations going on. I got a couple buddies in Detroit that call me, another couple buddies in California, and it's like, what are we doing? Because the makeup of a man is, hey, we got to protect ourselves and protect our family. So just trying to shed some light on that as we navigate through this. And I think the biggest thing that we can really do is, again, hold that space. My meditation has changed because it's about, hey, we got to usher in more love, more light, more loving light to it. And I really feel that where we're going is, number one, we have more people waking up. We have more people questioning things. I've never seen at any time in history the amount of people that are just stepping forward, all walks of life, and saying that this needs to stop. We need to go in a different direction. We're not there yet, but at least the conversation is starting to change. And that's encouraging to me because I don't think it's ever happened to this magnitude. I mean, people from everywhere it's like making this an issue. And I think it leads to other things. It's funny, I'm reading a book now, Conversations with God, book 4, and we've got a lot of work to do. Just in a section, 1.5 billion people don't have electricity on this planet. Think about that. 19,000 children a day die of health issues, starvation. 650 kids a day die every hour of starvation. We've got a lot of work to do on the planet. 85 people collectively have more money than 3.5 billion people on this planet. So when you start looking at the stats, it's like, oh no, this isn't going to work. And while everybody's talking about we need better laws and better policies, what's more important to me is a law means nothing if the energy behind it isn't there. Does that make sense? So you can have all the laws you want. If the people behind it don't have that energy in them of equality, it's not going to go anywhere. So that's why things that we're doing here, allowing us to be the example, help other people, because there's a lot of people in pain. I think you guys would agree. All you guys have ran into people that are in pain, right? Like seriously in pain. And someone has to be able to articulate how to work through that pain. Someone has to be able to provide some type of hope and compassion, you know. And, I didn't beat my buddies down because I was there weeks ago. Like, I know where you're at. I know you got your finger on the trigger, So how do we navigate through that? And then on the opposite, there are things happening with our sisters in hospitals, So there's a number of issues that affect us a lot of different ways. But again, if we're going to be the light holders, we have to figure out how to navigate through these situations and hold this fifth dimension, this Christ consciousness or 5D consciousness, whatever you want to call it, and be that light tower for other people, because there are people out here searching. They really are. There are people out here questioning. There are a lot of people out here asking why. And if they come to you, okay, this is where the inner work goes in so that you can be able to articulate and answer these individuals in a way where, okay, that makes sense. And it may be a series of conversations. It may not happen in the first one. It may take 2 or 3 or 4. So we have to show love, compassion, and we just have to show the example. We just have to show the example. So Annette, you want to add something to
that? You all know, I think way out the box, but what came to me as you were talking about men hurting and women hurting, what came to me was, and I heard this very clear, Annette, take the labels off. If you take the labels off, all you have is masculine energy and feminine energy. And so in looking at that, the masculine energy is the doing energy. The feminine energy is the creative energy. And so what came to me is, it's not about separating. It's about bringing the energies together. We've been separated long ago. So as you create things, then you do things. But in order to do that, you cannot look at the person on the outside. You've got to see the energy of the person.
Okay,
and
so
that energy. Go ahead.
Help me out here. You said bring the energies together. Okay, so
Right.
walk me through that.
Okay, so we're feminine and masculine energy.
Okay.
Everybody is. Okay. But when we walk in the human aspect of who we are, we walk in duality again. So we separate those energies. You separate the masculine energy, you separate the feminine energy. In the fifth dimension, there's no separation. It's all one. As you bring that oneness together, you bring love together and you bring healing together.
Okay, so when you talk about separation, you're talking about masculine, feminine energy within the individual.
Yes. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay, so that makes sense. So when someone is hurting, address the masculine and feminine in the individual, bring that together, and then we move forward from there.
And you've got healing.
Gotcha. All right, so I'm gonna ask you another question. So my buddy, he's calling me angry about the shooting in Atlanta. And, I talked him off the ledge. Explain to me the feminine aspect of that. Is it the crying out, or explain to me the feminine aspect of the energy with him?
You talking him off the ledge was the feminine energy
For who?
for both of y'all.
Oh, I was in Beatrice mode. Okay. So that's an inside joke that Annette and I have. Okay. So me talking him off the ledge was the feminine, what's the masculine?
Him wanting to, what did you say? He was ready to kill
Oh,
somebody?
okay. So the trigger,
Okay.
okay. All right. So I
Right.
see what you're saying. Okay. All right.
But the other thing is, why did he call you? Okay.
He called me to try to bait me, to be being very honest, like, yeah, we're gonna see what Ace got to say. But
you looking at it from the 3D level. No.
I see what
Raise up with it.
He called me, it was a cry for help.
Cry for help for both of you all, not just him.
I was good.
Okay.
I was ready. As soon as I saw the phone, I'm like, I'm ready.
But somebody in your family wasn't good.
You're right. Lil Ace was ready. Lil Ace wanted to do
Ace
something.
88. We know who it is.
But I was
See, when people
I'm glad you're bringing this up, because when I found out, I said, yeah, it's gonna be just a little bit longer and he's gonna reach out to me, and he did. And as soon as I said, oh, I'm ready this time. And it went well. But I think what you talked on today was, even though I think I covered the masculine and feminine, I didn't go into the conversation identifying the separation in the energies.
Right.
Thought, this is my bro, and let me help him through this before he do something stupid.
Right. But you didn't have to separate them because you were already there. You're in the fifth dimension. So there is no separation there. So as you're talking with him, the feminine and masculine are one. You're already dealing in that energy of
and
the
then
oneness.
I brought him into the fold.
Exactly.
So I brought him onto the bridge, got him right. Okay, now that makes sense. Okay.
Right.
Okay. This is what happens, guys, when we talk. We just go back and forth and all this crazy stuff goes on. And if you're on YouTube Live, yeah, this is part of the madness. But okay, so that makes sense. So there's always a feminine, masculine balance going on that needs to be cleared up. And you know, it's so funny, I haven't heard from him since. So evidently whatever needed to be cleared out within him, it got taken care of, because we were good when we got off the phone. Literally, like, okay, I feel better. I don't like what happened, but I at least feel better. And I think that's what people are really, really grabbing for. They want to grab this feeling of feeling better as we navigate through this moving forward. Okay. Good
and
stuff.
the thing with that is we will get to a point where we won't have to reach out to anyone, because we'll recognize the love within us. We'll recognize the masculine and feminine energy with us, and we will bring our own self into balance, because we will recognize who we are. We'll know who the greatness that we are. We will recognize it. And so we won't have to reach out to anybody else. We'll have a family meeting and it'll get solved. Why? Because in self-love, I recognize, is this loving myself, or is this going to cause me to react in a way that I don't want to react? So we ask those questions constantly. Am I in love for me? And if I'm not, then why not?
So I got one other question for you, because this call is, I think, other than my man Spence, this is probably 99% women. So pretty much all the women on here are dealing with the same thing. So walk us through the masculine, feminine aspect of it from a woman's point of view. They may not be, I don't know, maybe a few of you guys got guns, but they may not be to that point, but there is some anger, there is some emotion. So walk us through the feminine, masculine aspect according to how you see it on that point.
Okay, can I get one of the females on the thing to say what they feel. I don't know how they feel because I'm not there. I don't have the anger. So can somebody come on and say how they're feeling about this? What's going on? Nobody?
Um,
Okay. Thank
I
you, Renee.
have been, yeah, I've been kind of neutral because I didn't want to get angry. Um, and I wanted to be able to hold. It was just interesting this morning. I was sitting on the bed, praying and talking to myself. And I was thinking about, where I've been in the past in terms of militancy and African American and Black power and all of that stuff. And I was like, well, if I go there, then how do I have, well, who holds the energy for the healing? Um, I understand that George Floyd, it is George Floyd, right?
Yep.
I saw him as a catalyst for things that are happening, but there were also other catalysts that were going on. I've seen a lot of things on YouTube and in my individual chat box that I never thought I would have seen. I've seen white people calling other white people out. This morning I saw a video from a Middle Eastern guy who was here. I guess he's become a naturalized citizen, but he was talking about the George Floyd situation. And he was like, you can't come here and take advantage of the country, the things that are going on and the advantages of this country and not be responsible for some of the other things that are happening, because he said it was people that look like me that called the cops on him, and then you stood by and watched it happen. And so he was pretty upset about that, but he had a point. All these people that are here that are taking advantage of quote unquote the American democracy and still not being united, coming in and still being separate, still perpetrating all of the things that they may have heard or may have seen or may actually believe about people who are other than themselves. But my point was that I sat there and I said, okay, well, I don't know how I'm going to do it because I'm not sure what I'm called to do at this point. But at this point, I think the best that I can do is to just continue to remain open and remain open and continue to do the best I can and love myself. And then to take that wherever I need to or I can take it.
That's awesome.
Okay, so to look at that, there's a choice here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's a choice for the feminine and the masculine to come together. What would the choice be? The choice would be to take care of self, which is self-care,
Mm-hmm.
do self-love, because until you do that, you will take in other people's stuff.
Mm.
And so be aware of what's going on, but don't get caught up in it.
Well,
Because getting
that's what I've been trying to hold
caught up
myself.
in it gives you a choice, right? But it gives you a choice. So what we all have to do when we're dealing in the fifth dimension, we're dealing in masculine and feminine energy. What does that really mean? It means just to be.
Mm.
Because feminine energy is compassion.
Right.
Masculine energy is the doing. What are we going to do? We're going to be, just be who we are. And in that being, everything energetically goes out before us. So as we get caught up, and when we get on the teeter-totter, and when we're on that teeter-totter, what do you have to do? You've got to bring that back into balance. What is the balance? You're the balance. and how you talk to self. You see something on the news, is that going to bring me self-love, or where is that going to take me? Okay, then you make a choice. Once you make that choice, you can either make the choice of loving self and then allowing that energy to go out, or you can get caught up in that energy. And we can so easily take that energy in and get caught up in it. And so, but when you always ask yourself the question, how does this serve me in love? That's the question for everything in order
And
to move into the fifth dimension.
and again, if you're aware, and Lisa, I'm going to
Right.
come to you because I saw your hand go up. So when you see it happening and you're aware, you're in the dot, yes, that's where the choice comes. Do I jump in this paradigm and play, which is okay, because a lot of people are doing that. We're going to jump in and fight and do this, that, and the other. Or
Mhm.
am I going to hold this higher space? And that's where, and again, the fourth dimension, that bridge is where the practice ground is. It's like where you really, really get to, you know, to see. But, you know, Renee, you chose to be neutral. Um, and
Yeah.
again, there's some high tech stuff because everybody not doing that, you know. So Lisa, you wanted to chime in?
I did. I wanted to say that I don't think that it's very different, kind of being in the flesh as a woman. There's still anger, there's still hurt, there's still all those things. And for me, my do response was different, where I'm leaning into a little more of my feminine energy in the flesh and creating space for people to talk through their stuff, and acknowledging that when I'm in the flesh, that I'm still holding on to some things around being Black in America, and some stories and beliefs that I have to shed as I move into more of that higher self and fifth dimensional space. So letting go of some of these stories that exist in the American consciousness of how Black people are, who they are, how women are supposed to behave, how men are supposed to behave, to get to the higher self and stay in the fifth dimensional consciousness more often. And then, even in the fifth dimensional consciousness, using that to create space for others to process so that they can move through to get to a place of healing.
Good stuff, girl. Good stuff. I mean, and again, we all have choices to make. And I like what Lisa said. She creates space for others because, yeah, people are going to be looking for us. People are going to be looking for examples. They're going to be looking for guidance on what to do. And that's the whole key of being a light worker. We kind of like have to be there because people are looking. People are like questioning, and none of this stuff is easy. And again, there are times I fall into 3D. I know I'm in 3D. Like I'm going to 3D. Like, see y'all later. Okay. And I'm good with it and I'm there. And after a little while I come out, you know. But if the episode keeps playing over and over again, I'm like, I've seen this before. I'm gonna do something different. But there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work to do. We can go on all night. We've been in 52 minutes. We went a little longer. Couple things. If you guys have not been to our YouTube page, please go there and hit subscribe. We're over 50 plus subscribers right now. First destination is 100 subscribers, and then we want to get to 1,000. So look for that. We'll be back here this Sunday at 7 p.m. for our Sunday meditation. I also want to thank a number of you guys that are also sharing the YouTube and the Facebook link on your social media pages. What we're doing is we really want to expand our format today. We're broadcasting not only here live, but on YouTube live as well. And then within the next week, we're going to open up where when we do this, it'll also be on the Forever Phoenix page live as well. So those are some of the different channels we want to do so that we can expand what we do. We picked up, I think, 11 subscribers in the last 24 hours, all by people on YouTube just looking at our videos and plugging in. So definitely want to thank you guys for that. I'm also going to be starting a series on YouTube. I'll be doing some YouTube broadcasts just talking about similar things to what we're talking about today. My first episode is really going to be Bridging the Divide. I don't know what date it's going to come out yet, but I've got it already prepared because we want to keep this conversation going. I think more than ever, we have to start talking with people that do not look like us, or, whatever that is. It could be male, female, white, black, Republican, Democrat. It doesn't matter. We've got to be able to meet on a bridge and be able to talk some things through, not to create arguments, but to create an understanding of the similarities that we have. I think we have more in common as a human species than we do the things that we disagree on. And I think the illusion has been created that we're all separated. We're all divided, and it's because of this and it's because of that. And it's really been an agenda that's been rolling. So that first episode, Bridging the Divide, is going to be talking about that and talking about some other things. So Annette, I'm going to let you close it out and take us out of here, and we'll go from there.
All right. I just want to thank everybody for being on the call, and I do want to congratulate Free. Hi there, sweetie. She just started a new tea line, and
Hey, Free, go Free.
Hey, awesome.
Hey, congratulations.
Yeah, so I'm excited for her. She also has some books in the works, so she's quietly over there doing her thing.
Look at you.
And when she comes out, we'll be able to get that information. So thank you, Free. If you can send me the website page so we can list it, so people can go there and look at the teas that you have. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Can I get a sample?
See, only Toya.
Sure
I just want to again thank you all, and I just want you all come on over to the bridge. Yeah, come on over to the bridge. Fourth dimension. Come on over to the side. See what different. Love on self, take care of self, one at a time. You don't have to wait until it's this huge thing. Celebrate the little things in life, the little things that give you joy. And every single day, do something for self-care of self and for loving self. That's the only way we're going to get there, is by starting with self. So love you all, appreciate you all. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Hopefully I will get some sleep tonight. If not, y'all see my emails at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. Thank you, love you all.
Love you
and
too.
see you on Sunday.
All right, everyone. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Good night.